All right. Oh, Dawn's already in there. Good morning, or good morning. Good afternoon, Dawn. How are you? How's your Yana coming along? Can you hear me okay? Loud and clear? Perfect. Okay, I gotta get into Zynah mode. I gotta figure out what we're doing today. Hi, Diane. How are you? Your Zynah turned out very nice, Diane. So we'll see if Lexi and Cynthia come in. They'll be sewing with me today, I think. If they are. I did my homework for the next 2 days, or for today and Thursday, and did some more cutting. Cut out a Rosie today. Okay. So give it till about 5 after for everybody to pop in. Hi, Linda. How are you? You're just watching today? Welcome. Linda, do you plan on making this one? Brady's just leaving the house. I can hear him leaving right now. Oh, he's coming down the stairs. There is my whiteout. Nice. So you're going to watch it and do it later? That's exciting. Perfect. Any questions about the stabilizer? Pretty straightforward, hey? Not too bad. Yay. I'm not super talkative. Holy. How was everybody's weekends? So I'll give another couple minutes to see if Cynthia and Lexi pop in. You watched last week's video? Awesome. And of course the tutorial is posted for members as well too, so. Oh, Linda has been here before. Let me just double check something. Just going to message Cynthia quickly. Yolinda's been with us for over a year. Linda's kind of, she's usually not here live, but we're so glad that you are today, Linda. We have lots of people that are part of the classes that aren't in the chat there, so. All right, and give it another minute or so. I messaged Cynthia and she isn't responding, so it may just be me sewing and you guys watching today. Diane already finished her bag. She said naughty girl. No, she's not. She's excited about it. Diane. There's no need to be sorry. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, we are going to get started. So if Lexi or Cynthia pop in, they can catch up. All right. Let me get, okay. So I'm hoping that we're going to get through the front panel and the back panel and one of the side connectors today. So first thing we want to do is prep our zipper. So I need my zipper tabs out of this big pile of stuff. There they are. You love my shirt? I was made in the 70s. I got a whole bunch of fun t-shirts yesterday from Shane. Is it? I think that's how it's pronounced, is Shane. So, okay, so let me put this down to table view. That one, that's what we want. Okay, and what I have here, and of course I haven't trimmed my interfacing yet. Oh my gosh, okay. Is the view okay? Trying not to have anything too much in the way here. So we are working with our zipper tabs. And of course we would usually press them, but I am not going to do that because I don't want to go over to my iron there. So I'm just going to use my pressing wheel. It does make a big difference. Oh, you got your right foot, did you? That's awesome. Did you get your cylinder arm yet, Diane? Okay, so what we're going to do with these zipper tabs is we're going to fold them wrong sides together in half and give it a good press. You can take it to your iron if you want to. I'm hoping this is going to work. Otherwise, I'm just going to hold it in place. Do they have one for the 60s? They might, Dawn. And then we're going to fold this into the center line like so, just like how we make straps, and then fold it in upon itself again like so. Of course, I'm not pressing it, so I'm just going to use clips to hold it in place. Ooh, we shipped yesterday. Hey, Lexi. Lexi, are you sewing with me today? Diane is getting a Titan 1341. How are you doing, Lexi? We just started by doing the zipper tabs. Did you need me to hold up so you can catch up to that? I need to cut my zipper anyways. So you want to get your two zipper tab pieces out and then fold them into the center and then fold them again onto themselves. That would be great. And Diane is going to have the same machines as me. Hi, Lexi. She is going to have no more top stitching woes. I'm so glad that Brandy was able to help you. Maybe the baby is up. Okay, so do you want me just to start going through, and then if you need to stop me, you can stop me, Lexi? Cynthia's sewing with us too, but I don't know where she is. She might be running behind. Okay. So I need the front zipper. So I got to look to see what the length of our front zipper is so I can cut it. Front zipper, 9.5 inches long. So I'm going to cut my zipper here, 9.5. Let's do somewhere where I can actually see it. Sounds good. The joys of brand new mommyhood. I miss it. I truly do. Okay. I'm going to put my pull on with my handy dandy fork in a vise. Nothing special. I can see, you guys can see if you don't judge the messiness of my floor. I did not clean my studio this weekend like I should have. I ended up working on Pin It Up patterns, next pattern instead. Yes, it's almost to testing, you guys, our next pattern. Super excited. Ooh, that went on perfect the first try. Gotta love that. Okay. Okay, you want to make sure that these are nice and even on the ends. Then we're going to take those folded in zipper tabs, kind of open it up so you see where they're folded in. And we are going to put the zipper tape right up to the center and sandwich it. Now you want to make sure that your folded edges are met up really nice because we are going to top stitch those in place, and you want to make sure you're catching both the back and the front. You'll find room for your new machine. If I had both of my machines in my old studio space, you'll be fine. Okay, so then we're going to take this over to the machine and we are going to top stitch, whoopsies, get in there, those in place. Is that straight? There we go. Right along those folded edges with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure to catch the top and the bottom. Okay. Okay, sorry, I did not have a mic on. Can you guys hear me now? I'm just logging in so I can see the chat on this side here. Okay, Cynthia, all we have done so far is cut our front zipper tape, and we're just stitching on our zipper tabs. So you just kind of made them just like how you do straps, folded them in on themselves, and done that. If you want to get that, are you going to be sewing with us? Okay, so again, you want to make sure that you're catching the front and the back of these. And I've caught the back too, so that's good. Same with the other side. Yeah, I forgot to turn my mic on. Sorry, guys. It was still in filming tutorial mode, where I have to turn off all the mics because otherwise you would hear me singing super loud with my music as I'm filming the videos. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to catch up there. Any questions what you need to do, or do you understand how to make these, Cynthia? Okay. Okay, so while we're waiting for, so this is what we have, and we've cut both sides. While we're waiting for Cynthia, I'm going to pull out all the pieces I need for this front panel. So you're going to need pattern piece A. There's just so many pieces. A, B. Not that. I will need these connectors soon. I don't need those. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. I will need these. Front top lining. I need my front top panel. What's this one? Back pocket. Front top panel. Front top and bottom liner. Zipper tabs. We're going to need that pattern piece. This one. I like how in her pattern at the top of each section, she tells you what pieces you're going to need, which is great. Okay, so that is all we need for now. So just give a couple minutes to Cynthia to get caught up there, and then we will continue on. Yes, I just sewed the zipper tabs. Came on right when we just got started, so that's good. We are sewing, we're on step number 4, page 14. This is the front zipper, and it is, I believe, 9.5 inches long. Yeah. I'll just trim my interfacing quickly while we wait. Not the inside zipper. Oh yeah, the hidden zipper, yes. I should go grab a bag and show you what we are sewing. I won't have the bag after this weekend because my client's picking it up next week, but let me grab it. So yes, we are sewing. Coco says hi. We are working on the front panel and this front zipper right now, this hidden zipper in the back. So we're gonna get this whole panel done, this whole panel done, one of the side connectors done, and then homework will be the other side connector and then purse feet on the bottom. I need my front pocket panel too. I'm missing that. Front pocket panel. So many pieces in this bag, but so worth it. Okay. Front pocket panel. There we go. Okay. I've got all the pieces we need for the front. It's the 9.5 inch one, correct? Okay, so what we have here is I have my pocket lining bottom, pocket lining top. Should have your front top panel with your interfacing done as per what the pattern says. So it was 3/4 of an inch from the top. I've marked the top with a T and 1/2 inch from the bottom. We have our front pocket panel. So I got my interfacing on as per the pattern, 1/2 inch from the top and bottom. And then we are going to need our front pocket template as well for this step. So all of these pieces are what we need for this step, as well as our nameplate. because we will be installing that as well if you're going to be doing that. Let's give it another minute or so and then we'll move forward. How's the baby doing, Lexi? Coco's mad I have her locked out of the room. Done. Perfect. That was fast. Okay, so once you get there, you can go ahead and trim up these tabs so they're the same width as your zipper tape. Just like so. Not used to using colored zipper tape. How bizarre for me. Okay. Next, what we want to do is we need our French pocket stitch guide and our front top lining piece. So we are on page 15, step 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my top and bottoms before I forget, even though we will be cutting part of it away, but that's okay. So you're going to need your front top lining piece and your front pocket stitch guide template. I need a ruler. Coco's gonna lose her poop. Where's the ruler I want? Let me just see what she's freaking out at. Oh, just kids walking by. Oh my goodness, she's got Dexter going. Okay, now we're gonna mark a T for a top. We need to mark top. We do not want to get it mixed up. That's Dexter barking now. And from that top, we want to measure down 3/8 of an inch and draw a line. They just realized Brady left too, so he's unhappy. So 3/8 of an inch from the top. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this template and we are going to line it up so the top curvy parts are lined up at that 3/8 of an inch line. Like so. Just kind of hold it with some clips. And then we're going to trace that shape. This is such a cool part of this pattern. I'm just using my sew line pen. I'm hoping it doesn't disappear before I'm done. So we're on the wrong side. You're tracing the shape of this template. Now you will notice the template doesn't sit. See, my template sits way down below. That's okay. It's just working to get the shape here because this is going to help us shape that pocket in a future step. There we go. So that is all we need that paper template for. Again, be very aware which is your top because you don't want to put this on upside down. Okay. Let me know when you're there, Cynthia. And Lisa, if you are sewing, or Lexi, if you're sewing with us as well. Letter piece L is our front top lining piece. We need pieces L and M, I think. I'm wondering if I didn't cut enough of this piece. One sec. because that's the wrong piece. Got the wrong piece. I think this is the piece I need right here. Front bottom lining. So L&M. Just trimming my interfacing. So all the pieces we're working with are at the very top of page 14 of step 4. She lists which pieces they are. Okay. So on our bottom pieces, we have 2 of them. We do want to mark our top and bottom centers as well. So these are the pattern piece M's that I'm doing that on. This is pattern piece L. I'm working in the order of the pattern, if that helps. I'm not jumping around for this one. I'm following it step by step so you can follow along easily. Just because this one has such a unique construction, and so it's best just to not go rogue and follow the pattern to a T. Okay. So we also want to find the center of our zipper tape. So I'm just going to fold it in half and mark with my erasable pen within the seam allowance. I'm going to mark both sides. The white tape, I can kind of see through it. Okay, all good? All makes sense? Now I'm going to use double-sided tape for this. You can go ahead and use clips if you prefer. So along this bottom lining piece, let me push all this out of the way. I'm going to put some double-sided tape along the top. Now this is an important part. Our lining piece is up, right side up, and our zipper is going to be right side up, but we want to make sure that our zipper pull is closing this way to the right. Normally we sometimes think we're going to do it to the left, but this one we are doing to the right. So this is step 13 on page 15. Make sure it's closing to the right, both are right side up. Match up that center. Stick it in place or clip it in place. You can go ahead and baste this if you like. I'm going to just baste it with this tape. And then make sure that it is definitely center. So, and I am about 1.5 inches from each side. Next, okay, so you want to make sure you have this top lining piece. So the T is at the top. Flip it over so it's right side up. And then we're going to put some tape, or you can use clips, along the bottom edge. I like to use tape because then my zipper ends up being nice and straight and it doesn't shift or anything. But again, know the sensitivities of your machine. And then what we're going to do is bring this right sides together like so. So we're putting that bottom edge, matching up that center, and sticking or clipping it down all the way across, sandwiching that sandwich tape, that tape. Oh, that's okay, Cynthia. No worries. I'll just trudge along, and you can always, you know how to get a hold of me if you need a hand. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead, let me double check my seam allowance. Then we're going to put on our zipper foot and we're going to go across there with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then while we're at the machine, we are also going to flip this up So the seam is going to the bottom, and then we're going to top stitch through the lining, which we will do all at the same time. Okay, Cynthia, no worries. I understand. I didn't get my nap today, so I get it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put on my zipper foot. I think I'm almost out of bobbin here, but I'm going to go with it until the top stitch. Everybody can see everything okay? Okay, so we're going to go across here with 3/8. And I might not have enough bobbin. We will see. Put your needle down if you got to move your pull out of the way. Okay. Let me check my bobbin. Whew, close. Look at that. Not too bad. I won bobbin chicken. You gotta love that. And that's all that was left. Woo. Okay, now we're going to top stitch. So what we're going to do is we are going to press the seam down towards the bottom lining, and the zipper, the wrong side, is going to be facing you, and we're going to top stitch through the bottom lining piece, making sure your seam is pointing down to the bottom. All right. I think I cut this piece a little bit long, but I'm not worried about it. So this is what that looks like. Okay. So that takes us through to step 15. And now we're going to take our front pocket panel and install our nameplate. So again, we want to be very aware where our top side is. I'm going to find my top and bottom centers. So this is to install it on the pocket. I'll show you on the sample bag here. Just like that. So we're installing it on the exterior of the pocket. Okay, definitely make sure the bottom is facing down. And grab your little ruler. We're going to measure up 2 inches is what she recommends. 2 inches centered. Right there. So I'm quickly going to install my nameplate. Any questions? We good? No, that's the right way. Okay. I'm actually, because my prongs don't always, when I don't have foam on the back, I sometimes just put a chunk of foam behind my prongs because they're so long. Just give it a little extra softness there so my bag tag doesn't rub against the anything. So I'm just going to go like that. Close it off. Double check again that it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to put some tape on the back of that. Okay, and then because this is a client bag, I am going to make sure I am wiping off my marks as I go in case they don't disappear the way they're supposed to. So there we go. Okay, so that takes us through to page, we're on to page 16. Okay, so now we're going to need some pins here. We want this zipper tape to kind of be down and out of the way like so. So you're going to just kind of pull it down. Now, if you're using waterproof canvas, you probably don't want to use pins like I'm using. You may want to just tape it down with some painter's tape, but we do want to just pin it out of the way. Coco says so too. Just kind of get her out of the way. Like so. All right. Place the front pocket panel. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to take our front pocket panel and this panel with our zipper put down and out of the way. We're going to put them right sides together, matching up that top center and clipping in place. This is the magic pocket. This is just such a cool thing. Just like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is, now it looks like I must have shrunk my front top panel. That's okay. We'll cut it in the seam allowance. I'm not worried about it. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew along that line that we drew on the lining all the way across. Let's pretend that mine are the same length. I will catch that in the seam allowance, so I'm not too worried about it. So we're sewing through all the way through along that line that we drew on the lining panel, okay? All right. So I'm still keeping my zipper foot on because we're not done with the zipper. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it all with the zipper on. And you want to make sure you're sewing this nicely because this is shaping that front pocket. So take the curves nice and slow. Alrighty. Okay, so now we are going to take our pinking shears and we are going to trim this down to 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, just around these curves here. Just double checking I'm doing that right. Yeah, just around these curves. So starting here. So just like that. So we didn't do all the way up here. We just kind of did from the top of the curves and down. Or you could cut little V's into the curves if you prefer. And now what we want to do is we want to turn these wrong sides together, pushing out those curvy seams nice and tight. Making sure we're getting that shape. And then kind of roll them and secure them with clips. Is everybody still there? Isn't that magical how that comes together? You can start seeing how that pocket shape is now. Cynthia took a long nap. I could have used a nap today. I'm going to make Dawn laugh because I got up at 4 a.m. with my husband. We have a good running inside joke with that right now. But yeah, I get up at 4 a.m. with Dave well, he gets up at 3:30, but I get up at 4 a.m. to make sure he's had breakfast, and before he starts he has to drive 1 hour and 45 minutes to work each way. So I just like to make sure he's good to go. I made Dawn laugh. Oh, you're paying close attention? Nice. We do a very similar pocket on the Yoshi as well. Okay, see? Doesn't that look amazing? And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to make sure. We're going to still make sure all of this is kind of out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch along that edge. You are watching me? Okay. Good. So again, make sure you're not catching that zipper underneath. You want it to be out of the way. We just want to top stitch this. So I'm just going to double check my tension here to make sure it's going to look good on both sides. So I'm just going to test it out. Probably tighten it just a smidgen. So one thing with an industrial is sometimes, depending on your materials, your tension goes a little wonky. Okay, but I think I'm good now. Check that it looks good on both sides, and it does. Always a little nervous when it's an actual client order. I want it to be as perfect as it can be. Coco agrees. And I always hand crank my curve just because my machine does get away from me sometimes. She sews fast, and I just want to make sure I'm not going to lose control of her, or I want to have some really pretty top stitching. Even though this white thread kind of is camouflaged with this metallic paint, which is good. I'm a very good wife. Oh, Dawn. Alrighty. Oops, wrong one. This is the one I want. Alrighty. Holy cocoa. Now that's somebody else walking their dog. She does not like that. Okay, so that has taken us to step 21. We can let our zipper tape go now. Okay. Now we're going to take our other lining panel. I just cut off my center. Let me just mark my center again. Again, I'm going to use tape. Just know you can use clips too. Come on, hands work. There we go. You'll be surprised how easy this pocket is. It seems so complicated, but it really is not. Okay. So we have this right side up. We have our pocket lining M piece right side up. We're going to take the unsewn side, and this feels a little awkward, but this unsewn side of the zipper tape also right side up and match up that center like so. Stick it down. This is where tape really helps, I think, more than clips. Oh, I hear Dexter running up and down the stairs. Okay, just like that. So you could go ahead and baste that if you wanted to. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take my front, where are we here? Your front top panel. Again, you want to be very aware of where your top is. Find your top and bottom center. Very important, even though they look like rectangular pieces, they aren't going to be rectangular pieces for long. Okay, so again, make sure your top is going to the top. Along the bottom, I'm going to put some more tape. Holy moly, cocoa beans. Okay, sounds good, Cynthia. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead, kind of pull this out of the way. Might be easier to undo the zipper. And put them right sides together, matching up with the bottom of this top panel to the top of that zipper, like so. Just make sure you're pulling that pocket down and out of the way and only working with that one side of the zipper. Oops, we slipped a little bit. I'm also going to put in clips just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I'm doing the double whammy for extra security here. Again, see, I'm folding my pocket out of the way to only work with that one unsewn side of the zipper. Of course, my hands do not want to work today. Probably because I did so much cutting. Went into studio at about 6 a.m. today. I've been working hard. Make sure that zipper pulls out of the way. Okay. I got her. again, I'm going to put clips in just to make sure everything stays secure. Just because this here is kind of pulling at it. But look, it's almost like magic. So it might have been easier to base that, and I did not, but that's okay. So we're going to sew along there with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and we're going to make sure this pocket here is being pulled out of the way. We don't want to accidentally sew into it. So you're going to kind of hold this back and top stitch, and sew through here with the 3/8. Okay, and then there is going to be a top stitch thing, but it's kind of a hard one to explain at the machine, so we will come back and I'll show you how we will be top stitching this one at the table, and then we'll go back to the machine. So let's go through and do 3/8 of an inch here. A little slower here just because I am watching. Oops, my video petered out. Just because I am making sure I am doing it good. Have I frozen to you guys, or is it just frozen on my end? I've completely frozen on my side. Oh, there we go. We're back. Okay, good. So 3/8 of an inch, making sure you're only sewing through that seam and not through that front part. Making sure none of your layers are slit. I should be nice and secure with the double whammy of tape and clips. So you'll see you're almost sewing like within 1/8 of an inch away from the interfacing. Not frozen? Okay. It was just my iPad. I think I'm running a good 1.5 minutes ahead of you guys. Is this a returning client? Sort of. Bobby is a childhood friend. We met when we were 10 years old. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went all through high school and everything together. She has bought crocheted and knit slippers and socks from me before I got into sewing, but she's never bought a bag before. So this is her first time with this. So I'm super excited. Super excited. And you can see she's got amazing taste. Like, this is just going to be such a pretty bag. Okay, so this is what we got. But now we need to top stitch through the lining. Just like, remember we did with this side. So what we're going to do, lay it down like this. You're going to flip this pocket out of the way. And you're going to flip this lining out of the way. I'm going to do up my zipper because it's going to be easier. So flip the pocket out of the way, the first lining out of the way. Make sure this seam is going down towards this other bottom lining. Like so. And then you can see that it's on top stitched here, and we're going to top stitch that seam in place right through this lining here with these other sections out of the way. So yeah, we're going to have to make sure that it's staying down. I'm actually going to put some double-sided tape there to help get it to stay down because mine isn't wanting to. Probably because I use EB Fuse Medium for my pieces because this Moda Sheen is so sheer. So I want to make sure that it wasn't going to be see-through. So I used a little bit of a heavier stabilizer on my lining than I usually do. Okay, that'll help. Okay, so see, the seam's going this way. All of this we have out of the way, and we're going to top stitch right through there. Almost done. It's magic. Love it. Okay, so they're both top stitched. You can kind of see what we've got happening here. So that has taken us through page 16. And now we are on page 17, step 25. Okay. So now what we're going to do is this seam below the zipper, so this seam right here and right here, we want to match up those seams like so. I'm just going to check something here. Why? Okay. Yeah, match up that seam. See right where the two lining seams meet here? Not this top one, but where the seam is right where the zipper joins. I want to match those up. Of course, my thing is just a little bit longer here for some reason. I'm going to just trim it up a little bit because that'll be fine. Okay, line up that seam. Nice and even. And then take a clip and put it into place like so. See? Same with the other side. Line up that seam. And then clip in place. Ta-da. Now what we want to do is make sure this is 9.5 inches from the top to the bottom. If it's not, oh, I'm dead on there and there. How about over here? This side I have to come down a little bit. Oh yeah, it's shifted. There we go. Okay. Isn't that magic? Okay, wait one sec here. Okay, so we're going to keep those in line like so with a couple clips just at the top so that doesn't shift. We're not going to sew that yet. What we're going to do now is we are going to flip up this side, so that pocket, and add it into the clips so it's up and out of the way. And then at the bottom pocket edge here, we're going to go ahead and clip it. And then we are going to sew across here with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Just double check I got that right. Yeah, just through the bottom lining panels. And I'm going to go ahead and change into my stand. Do I want to change into my standard foot? Yeah, I can change into my standard foot. 1/4 of an inch. I'm going just a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch because I can see that my lining panels aren't quite even. So that'll make sure I'm catching both of them. Okay. There we go. And then what we can do now is we can release it. I can see one side matches up pretty good. It'll be fine. And then we can clip down. I can see I have my lining panels, I have them too far on one side than the other, but we are going to base this and catch that, so it'll be okay. It'll be caught in the seam allowance. So go ahead and clip all the way down. And then we're going to baste these sides all the way to the bottom with 1/4 of an inch as well. I'm going to double check that this is still measuring 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. Okay, you can see where my panels are a little bit shorter here. I should be able to catch that in my stitching there. Somehow my lining pocket panels, see, they weren't quite centered, so it's longer on this side than this side, but it will be fine. That's okay, Cynthia. I wish I had time to take a nap today. I'm jealous. I think you took a nap for me as well, so that's good. Okay, so let's go baste those sides. And then, believe it or not, that's our front panel done for now. Okay, it's no longer stitched to baste with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And that is going to hold that hidden pocket in place. So make sure that it is nice and even, and then baste it. How is your arm feeling, Cynthia? Another thing I like to do is when basting this, I want to do them from top to bottom. That way I know it's not sliding. Whereas if you go from the bottom to the top, it could slip out of place and we don't want that. So don't want it to end up being higher on one side than the other. Hope it's catching that lining under there. Just, woo! We will be going in with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which will catch it later on, so I'm not too worried. Oh, I'm so glad you're not sore anymore, Cynthia. Okay, so I didn't quite catch all that lining. I'm just going to go back in a little bit closer. It's just because I did bad cutting, so. That should do it. There we go. Barely caught it, but I caught it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. See, where I did my cuts wrong, my basting did catch it. But on this side where it's too long, I can go ahead and I can trim off that lining. So that was just me not having accurate centers, but it still worked out good. And that is our front panel ready. And you should have completely working hidden pocket. How pretty is that? Actually, I'm really happy with this Moda sheen in here. It turned out really nice. It's not quite the same color pink, but I think it complements it nicely. So that is front panel done. Not hard at all, hey? Isn't it pretty? It's such a fun technique. Okay. So we can set this aside for now. Now we're on step 5, page 17. I'm going to pull out all of the pieces here that we need. So many pieces in this pattern though. Okay, so we are going to need our back pocket, back top panel C, back pocket panel D, back pocket lining O. Okay, I gotta figure out which one is that. Is it this one or is it this one? Let me see. Because I didn't label the backs, and remember I didn't use the pattern pieces, so I gotta go back to my cutting chart to know which one is which. Back pocket panel. Back pocket panel. Okay, so I think it's gonna be this one, but I'm gonna double check my measurements. Yeah, it's the larger one. This one here is my slip pocket. Okay, back to page 16. Oh, nice, Cynthia. My husband is actually going for nerve blockers in his spine on Thursday from his motorcycle accident. He's developed arthritis in his hip and his spine, and he's in immense pain. He's tough though, but they are going to put nerve blockers in so he gets some relief, which is good. Okay, where were we? Page 17. Okay, now this is tricky, but genius. Okay. So we definitely want to know, let me double check. Make sure for your pocket, your lining piece, that you do have the right part on top. So you can't give what the measurement is, but the width should be the longest edge, which is that one there. Okay. On the back of this, we are going to mark top and we're going to mark bottom. This is going to throw you for a loop. You're going to think that we are doing it completely wrong, but we're not. Just trust the process. Again, I'm reading the pattern piece closely just because these are really different techniques. And if you mix up your top and bottoms, you mess it all up. We want to find our top and bottom centers. What you're going to see is it's not a long sew at all. It's just learning a different technique that takes a little bit of time. Got my centers marked. Now we are going to be wanting to do our male side of our magnetic snap. So I'm just going to get that ready to go. So the male side, I'll make Dawn laugh again, is the one with the little nubbin or divot, I guess. Okay, so you can use your pattern piece if you have it cut out to mark this. I don't. So I am going to measure up from the bottom. Now you're automatically going to say, why are we putting the magnetic snap on the bottom and not the top, Brandy? You will see. It's up from the bottom. So what we're forming right now is this back magnetic snap pocket. And it looks like the magnetic snap is on the top, but it's not. So from the bottom, measure up 1 1/4 inches centered. Right there. So if you're like me, read the instructions over and over for this just to make sure you're doing it right. And we're going to go ahead and install the male side of our magnetic snap right there. I'm also going to back it with a piece of scrap, Decovil Heavy. Here's my little scrap bin full of scraps. That's a good size. Okay. You trust me? Okay, and because I am using cotton fabric, I am going to go in with my freight check on those slits. Ooh, that came out fast. Oh well. Okay. Install your magnetic snap. Diane did this. What did you think of this, Diane? Wasn't it magical too, this back pocket? I'm not cut all the way through. Come on, go through. There we go. Said my hands do not want to work today. There we go. Back it with some Decovil Heavy scrap. Put on my washer. And I just use the edge of my table. I close my washers to the center. I don't think it really matters which way you do it. Then I like to take my mallet. I'm going to apologize because I'm going to bang it nice and flat. And then put some tape over top. Dawn wants to know what the hardest part for you of this bag was, Diane. It's really not a hard bag at all. It's not even hard to turn. I bet you she says the top stitching because she wanted that cylinder arm and got it shortly after making, well, I think she got it after making the Yana. Okay. So that is what we got. So that is at the bottom. Okay. So we have done up to step 3 or step 5, part 3. Okay. This gets so confusing. Okay, so we want to take our, I just grabbed the wrong piece, back pocket panel. Okay, so that's this piece here. Make sure you know where your top and your bottom are. Once again, very important. I've already marked my centers. Now what we want to do, so I have this situated so the top is going to the top. What we want to do is we want to line the top edge of the back pocket panel, so the top, this top here, with the bottom edge. So we have top and we have bottom, okay? So we're going to flip this over so our top is right sides together with the bottom side of this. Does that make sense? So again, I'll show again. This is our bottom of this panel. This is the top of this panel. We want to take this top, bring it right sides together all the way down to this bottom panel, like so. So when you flip it over, you should have a T there and a B there. Clip it in place. Sandeep is brilliant. Like, this pattern is, I'm so hooked on Kaur Threads patterns right now because I am learning so many cool techniques from it. And you can tell when they're new techniques because I'm slower to teach it. It doesn't make sense. It will make sense as soon as you get going. I promise you. So again, you want to make sure it's the top edge of the exterior piece and the bottom edge of the lining piece. And we are going to sew through there with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then we're going to flip them wrong sides together and top stitch them. Okay, so we'll do that part at the machine as well. Oh, Diane, you're going to have such a treat with that cylinder arm, and you're going to wonder how you lived without it. But I bet you'll still do most of your sewing at your flatbed, like I do. I really like, my flatbed is my favorite. You can do everything on both machines, but having both is really a treat. And top stitching is just, even doing binding on the cylinder arm is such a treat as well. It just makes it a lot easier. We're a lot less fidgety, maybe. Great, finishing allowance. So you'll see you're working about 1/8 of an inch away from the interfacing. And then we are going to turn these wrong sides together. Roll that seam between your fingers to prepare for top stitching. And look, it's moved that magnetic snap to the top. It's also, I'm trying to remember how this works. I'm confused right now too because I can't remember why we do it this way. I will know when we get past it. We're going step by step, and I've made one before. So this is what it looks like. And we're going to top stitch through that. Okay. Back to the table. As I'm starting to second guess myself. But it looks like the picture, so we are good. The pocket is amazing, right? But I said I've only done it the one time, so now I'm like, why do we do this? Okay, so that finishes page 17. So we are following this pretty much to a T. Yes, we are. It's magic, Dawn. That's right, Diane. It's magic. Okay. Turn the panel. Oh, I remember. Okay, so I'm going to make it even more crazy. So this is what we have. This is our pocket panel. We now have the magnetic snap there. You're going to take this and you are going to flip it over. So our bottom of our lining panel with the magnetic snap is down. You can see this panel is here. Okay? Got it? So you should have your back pocket lining towards us and the magnetic snap down at the bottom here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom edge of the back top panel. I totally remember now. So again, we want to be very aware of our top and our bottom of this back top panel. Okay? Find your top and bottom centers. I completely remember. This is like magic. But it does make you go, It's like that song, things that make you go, Am I dating myself? Do you guys know that song? Okay. So again, I have my top at the top. And what we're going to do is take the bottom edge, okay? Gonna confuse you. The bottom edge, right sides together with the top edge of the lining. So you should have, well, I don't have a B here, but if I had it marked, a B here and a T there. Match up that center, right sides together. You know that song, Dawn? I think it's from like what, the early 90s, late 80s maybe. Like my shirt, I was made in the 70s, mid 70s. Got one more year left in my 40s. I'll be 49 this year. 49 years on this earth. Okay, and now we are going to go ahead and sew through there with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm just double checking. Pin the bottom edge of the back top panel with the top edge of the back pocket lining right sides together, centered. Sew along the seam with 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then what we're also going to do is, once we've done 3/8 there, we're going to flip this over like so. So the seam is pointing towards the bottom. And top stitch through the lining, okay? Mind is blown. It's going to be blown some more because this looks like it's weird. But it is such an easy way to do one of these pockets. But you can see why you can't mix up your top and bottoms. And of course you can't tell by the shape of your pieces because they're rectangles until we shape them later. And we use the side pieces to shape it, but I won't get ahead of myself. That magic's coming up here shortly. And we might not get to that part today. I just got to get to one side panel and this part, and then that'll probably be it unless we have more time. But it's already 4:30, like holy cow. Okay, so we got that seam done. So now we're going to flip this exterior up so that seam is going down towards the lining, and we're going to top stitch through the lining. All right. So this is what we got so far. Got top stitch through here. This one we have top stitch through here. Okay. You figured it out yet, Dawn? Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to measure down from the top here 2 3/4 of an inch and draw a line with an erasable pen or chalk. Make sure these are even. Sorry if you guys see the back of my head. Is that 2 3/4 of an inch? You can tell my piece here goes. I'm gonna just trim it up. There's my bad cutting again, guys. Oopsies. There we go. Nobody knows. So we got 2 3/4 inch line there. Make sure it's nice and straight from here as well. Just double checking it all. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So now, this isn't going to be a permanent thing we're doing just yet. We're going to bring up this piece here, so the side with magnetic snap, and we're going to bring it up to that line like so. Mind blown? Clip it in place right at that line. So you can see we have folded it up, and see, it's made that pocket. Now, before we go further, we want to make sure this measures 9.5, just like the front piece. 9.5. Just check both sides. 9.5. Very important. 9.5. Okay. So now we want to do our female magnetic snap. So the way we're going to do that is I like to take my sew line pen here, and I'm going to color in that little nubbin on the male side snap if I can. Come on. Just to saturate it in some ink. Let it fall and then push it down. And that should leave our little mark right there where we're going to put our female snap. And I'm just going to double check it lines up, and it does. You can release that and go ahead and install the female side of your snap there. And then you know it matches up perfectly. Again, I'm going to get another piece of Decovil Heavy scrap. Magic and easy. I mean, you can see I've made one before and I still had to double check the instructions because I was second guessing it. The nubbin free end. Yes, that is the female side. No nubbin on the female side. Come on, hands, work for just a little bit longer. This is my carpal tunnel acting up, you guys. It just doesn't want to, it doesn't hurt me. It just starts not wanting to function. My right hand. Probably my fault because I've been doing a lot of English paper piecing again. Okay, close up those prongs. And the Fuse Heavy is feeling like a lovely stabilizer on this. I used it instead of the Decovil Lite. And it feels really good. Okay, I'm gonna take my mallet and just bend my prongs. And then put some tape over top of that. Okay. Ta-da! Now you can go ahead, close up your magnetic snap. Make sure it's lined up nice and straight at that line. Clip in place again. Double check that it measures 9.5. Nerve damage. I've had carpal tunnel. I was a piano player, musician for years, and when I stopped, the carpal tunnel formed. So I have to make sure I use it. Okay, I gotta bring it down a little bit. So you want to make sure that these measure. Yeah, I can see how it went up. 9.5. Very important that this measures that before we base these sides down. It's only acting up because I've been working so long today, so it's all good. 9.5. 9.5. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to baste those sides the rest of the way. Oopsies, leaving you guys in the dark. base in place with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And that should close up the pockets as well. Alrighty. So that's not too bad, hey? So we have our piece with the working pocket. And I'm going to wipe all of these pen marks away. And then just double check once more. 9.5. 9.5. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to do one hidden connector with you guys. So we have our exterior front and back panels done. How amazing do they look? Amazing. Done for now. We can put them aside. Now we want to take out a side panel, your connectors, and a side panel. Where are my side panels? So again, I do my hidden connectors different. Not much different, a little bit different, and it's going to be the way I do them today. You can definitely follow along in the pattern if you like as well. So this is where we have our interfacing. And remember, that was that little piece I couldn't find last week. I found it. It was under my my clip bowl. So set those aside for now. I'm going to take my connectors and some double-sided tape. I have a 1-inch line down the center. Actually, I'm just going to do one for now. So I do have a tutorial in the Bagmakers 101 playlist as well for how I do these hidden connectors. We're going to fold the long edges into that center line. And you can decide if you want to top stitch down each folded side with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm not going to. I didn't on this one, and it just kind of looks really, see, look how nice that connector is with no stitching along it. It's nice and clean and crisp, but if you want to do that, if you want to do it, you can. I'm not going to do it here. Okay. So yes, you can go ahead and you can top stitch down the sides of those if you want. I'm not going to. We want to mark our centers on the wrong side ish. Doesn't have to be exact, like so. Okay, now you'll see on my pattern piece here, so I'm doing them different. She cut out this chunk here. I'm not doing that. All I've done is done a little slit in that 1-inch line at the bottom right there, and that is going to be my guide. So I'm going to lay this down on top of my side panel here. And you can only do this with non-fraying fabric, okay? Because this could be a raw edge. Normally for me, it tucks in and there isn't, but it could leave a raw edge. I'm just going to trace out that line. And we want it to be 1 inch or slightly smaller. I like mine to be about 7/8, and that's what it is. And we're just going to cut that line. So I'm just going to kind of start it with my rotary cutter and then go in with my scissors to the edges of that line. You don't want to go too far. It's better to be too small than too big. And you can see that is cut right in to there. Most of you have done classes with me and know how I do this, so that's good. Okay, so now we have our side panel right side up. We have our connector wrong side up with our halfway mark line there. We're going to stick it in like so, and see how mine is a little bit tight? That's what I want. And we're going to pull it in to that half mark. Don't want it to tuck in just yet. So you're going to line that raw edge up with that line there. If you need to cut it a little bit wider, you can too, but mine's fitting in there perfectly. And then above the slit, so right here, just where the connector is, we're going to go ahead and we are going to just stitch in place right here. And I'm going to use a top stitch length. So you don't want to be stitching through the slit. You want to stitch about 1/8 of an inch above it. I'm actually going to change into a zipper foot to help get nice and close to that as well. Okay, so let's go do that. So change into my zipper foot. Which zipper foot do I want? I don't think it matters. I'm actually going to change into my left zipper foot, but either zipper foot is fine. Both will work. Okay, so again, above the slit. We're going just above the slit. And you want to start right about 1/8 of an inch away from the connector edge. Make sure to back stitch all the way to the other side of the connector. Do not go past the connector or your stitching will show. You don't want it to show. Okay. There we go. I'll take this back to the table to show you the next step. Okay. So you know you've done it right because you can still stick your finger up and through that hole, see? But it is secured in place right. I don't know if you can see with my weight. There's my stitching right there. Okay. Now you're going to take your rectangle ring or your D-ring or whatever it is that you decided to use. I'm making mine fixed to the bag, so I'm using a rectangle ring. You're going to put it so the rectangle ring is wrong side up, so the part where the weld is looking at you. Slip it on and take the short end of the connector and you are going to slip it into that slit and pull it down. And you'll see when you pull it down, your vinyl should curl down with it. See? And that raw edge is gone. Sometimes the raw edge pops up there. Not a big deal. Nobody is going to notice it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and stitch right along there, holding that in place as close as you can to the edge. So about 1/8 of an inch away from connector side to connector side. Connectors. And this is why I switched into this one, because I can get nice and close to there. Now you could pull your strands to the back. I'm actually going to back stitch just because I want to know for sure that those are never going to come undone. So I'm going to back stitch at the start and also at the stop. But you can definitely tie them off well as well if you like. Perfection. Ta-da! You can see my raw edge stayed folded under. Again, if your raw edge pops up there, not a big deal. You could always take a little bit of edge paint on it if you wanted to, but it's fine. You can go ahead and trim up that connector. So for homework, you will do the other connector as well as install rivets if you're doing that. So I'm going to install my rivets right about there, nice and centered on both. So I'll show you what that looks like on the finished bag. See? Make sure you back it with a piece of heavy stabilizer as well. Okay, I think we can get one more thing done. We've got 20 minutes. So yes, that'll be homework, doing that. And the other connector. Where are my instructions? Lost my instructions. So I think we can shape our bags here. Let's see here. Let me reacquaint myself with what we're going to do. Yep. Okay, another thing you're going to do for homework is install your purse feet if you're installing your purse feet, okay? So the other side panel and your purse feet. Okay, so now we're looking at page 23, step 7. I'm going to do one panel with you, and then you'll do the back panel for homework, okay? So I got my front panel here. On the wrong side of my front panel, again, I'm going to be reading the instructions here. We want to mark down 1/4 of an inch line from the top. Okay, I'm actually going to use my pen. So 1/4 of an inch line from the top. This is shaping our panel now. This is going to blow your mind as well. 1/4 inch line. Oopsies, I went a little bit off there. Okay. As well as we want to measure in 1 inch, make a 1 inch line in from each side. Okay. Just like so. All right. Okay, so double check the distance between the marks should be 10 3/4 of an inch. And I'm exactly 10 3/4 of an inch. Then it says to mark a line 3/8 of an inch up from the bottom. So 3/8 should fall just under your lining here. I'm going to trim some of my lining out of the way. This is where my lining was uneven. I'm just going to trim it out of the way so I'm not drawing over it. And we're going to draw a 3/8 of an inch line from the bottom. Come on. Here we go. So it should almost fall right under your pocket there. Okay. And then what we want to do is connect from this bottom, that 3/8, up to that 1 inch line, like so. I'm going to use this ruler. And we're going to draw a line going from there to there. This is shaping the bag because we cut it all rectangular. And this is why I wasn't worried about my zipper pocket being shorter, because we're going to cut a lot of it out of the way. Did I do that right? Same with on the other side. So from that 3/8 of an inch up to that 1 inch line. Yep. Okay, makes sense? So we've got those marks on here. Okay, now we need our side panel pattern piece, because that is, oh, it's right here. It's going to help us shape the bag. So let me just refresh myself with this. Okay, so we're going to take this pocket panel. Oh, wait, no, wait. I stepped ahead of myself. Did I? Connect the top and bottom marks with a diagonal line as shown. Total E. Oh yes, okay. We're going to take this pattern piece now, and we're putting the bottom corner right at the bottom corner of this. And that diagonal line that we drew here, we're lining up with the side panel here. So I'm just going to hold this with a clip on the bottom. And the reason we're doing this and lining up that line is see how our side panel kind of has this little bloop here? So it goes slightly over that 1/4 of an inch line. We want to just make sure we're drawing that shape out. And it should come down, see? See how it draws that little bloop slightly over the line and then comes down to meet that line. And we want to do the same on the opposite side. Match up that straight line. And then just trace out that little bloop. Oopsies. My bloop went a little rogue. Okay. And it should come down to a 1/4 of an inch line. See? My bloop is more on one side than the other. I don't know why is that. Oopsies. I didn't line it up properly. Smaller bloop, Brandy. Okay, right down like this. There we go. So we got even bloop loops in those corners. Okay. Now what we're going to do, let me double check. Top, oh, I want to make sure the top straight line. Yeah, it did. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to sew on the inside of this line with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to the top on each side. So we're going inside this line with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Oops, I'm going to put you guys in the dark again. Yes, I am. Okay. So you're going to have to look at the lining side up. I'm going to put my regular foot back on. Except a little more control. Okay, so on the inside of that line with 1/8 of an inch, go ahead and stitch. So then I'm just using a basting length. You'll see why we're doing that here momentarily. So I'm on the inside of the line. To that 3/8 line back stitch. Same with the other side. All right. Awesome, Cynthia. Okay, so you're going to see on the front, see, you can see my stitching. Looks like a hot mess. I promise it's not. Now what we want to do, let me double check before we do this. We've done our stitching. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to trim along that stitch line. By 1/8 of an inch. Oh, we're cutting along the slanted lines. So the drawings that we had done, I'm just cutting along those lines all the way to the top. I know it's scary because we're doing this through our finished panel, all the way, all that line up like that. Same with on the other side. Cutting along that line that we had drawn. Make sure you're not cutting your basted stitches because that's what's holding everything together. The one that we just did. See, now we have it angled. And then along this top, we are going to cut along that line we just did, including those little bloop bloop things that we did. So go very carefully to make sure you're getting that shape. I'm using my scissors just because I get a little bit more control, but could definitely use a rotary cutter. Get that slight little bloop up, and ta-da, we have a shaped pattern piece. So we went from a completely square piece like this one, and see how much different it is. So for homework, you're going to do the exact same thing we just did with shaping that piece with shaping this piece. Does that make sense? Isn't that magical? We got all of our linings are all caught there. We have our working pocket. So that is all we're going to do. We're almost done with the exterior of the bag, believe it or not. So again, for homework, do your other side connector, your other hidden connector. Do the shaping of your back panel just like we did with the front panel. Do your purse feet in the bottom of the bag as well. Also, I know it seems like a lot, but it's not. Do your lining pocket pieces the way you like them to be done. So if you're putting a slip pocket in, put your slip pocket in. If you're doing your zipper pocket, however you like to do your zipper pocket. I'm doing mine with overlay like I usually do, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. So do your zipper pocket the way you want to do your zipper pocket, leaving the bottom of your zipper pocket open for when we finish the bag up later. So again, homework, and I promise it's not that much. Do your other hidden connector, shape your back panel the way we did the front panel, purse feet, and do your lining pockets. And that's it. So next class will be putting the exterior main panels together, doing the zipper panel, and doing the lining. If we're really, really, really good, we may get done next class. If we don't get done, it's not a big deal. So if we don't get it done next class, definitely the fourth class will not be a full class. It'll be a just finishing it up type class. So again, if you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to me during the week. But as you can see, this is a complex bag, or it's a bag that looks complex, but really isn't. I just love this pocket. And this is turning out so pretty for my client. I think she's gonna love it. All right. Look, we stayed for the whole class this time. Like, we never do that anymore. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions about what we did. And I'll see most of you on Thursday to be doing Yoshi. And you're going to see a lot of the same techniques that we did in this one in Yoshi, especially in the Yoshi's front panel. Super exciting. So you already have practice on doing a hidden pocket because that hidden pocket is also on the Yoshi bag. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Have a great night. And I will see you soon. Bye.